How are we doing, guys? I'm going for a slightly different video this week for Leeds TV Investigates. This week I'm looking at the academy and who will be the next academy graduate in my opinion. So, you've looked at the last couple of years. Look who we've had coming through the academy into the first team and cementing their place in the first team and probably being the best player in the respective teams. So you look at Fabian Delph, Lewis Cook, Charlie Taylor, Sam Byram, Alex Marriot at times, Ronaldo Vieira at times, Calvin Phillips. You know, this season has really cemented his place in the team. But who is going to be the next player to progress into this team? You know, a thing that has surprised me a little bit about Marcelo Bielsa is that he hasn't really started a lot of the academy players or under-23 players in his starting 11 in league games. You know, we haven't really seen much of Jamie Shackleton, etc, etc. Jack Clark, who will both be mentioned in this video, in the starting 11, despite putting in some very promising performances when they've been allowed time on the pitch or in cup games. So, the first contender for me, I'm going to start from goalkeeper further forward. I'm going to start with Will Huffer first of all. 20-year-old goalkeeper. At times last season, Will Huffer was rumoured to be close to the starting 11. In fact, it felt like if anyone was going to come in from the academy, it was going to be Will Huffer rather than Bailey Peacock-Farrell. As we know, Bailey Peacock-Farrell has done well overall since he came to the team in March. He has been in really poor form, and there is a chance that maybe Will Huffer, his opportunity has presented itself with Jamal Blackman unfortunately getting a terrible injury in an under-23 game last week against Birmingham, and Bailey Peacock-Farrell's poor form. Perhaps Will Huffer is going to get his opportunity, or will at least get an opportunity in our third round FA Cup game in January. If he impresses in that game, who's bet against him taking Bailey Peacock-Farrell's space for the rest of the season, unless we do sign a goalkeeper? For me, Will Huffer's got a real chance. He's been trained into the system of what Bielsa wants his goalkeepers to do, with Carlos Cobaram managing that under-23 team and being a big part of the matchday operation at the moment. I'm going to do another Leeds TV Investigates video on Carlos Cobaram in the next couple of weeks because he's a very sort of interesting part of this team at the minute, and he's someone I think is definitely worth doing a video on. Make sure you let us know in the comments down below what you think of me doing that, by the way. But yeah, Will Huffer, I think he's got a real opportunity. He's been trained into the system. He had his potentially should have got his chance last season, but for me, he is a contender for that. Tom Pearce is another one. For me, at left back, he came in last season at times, but obviously a massive limitation on Tom Pearce is Barry Douglas's form. Marcelo Bielsa doesn't appear to be totally trusting of Tom Pearce so far. You know, he was subbed on and subbed back off against Forest, but I don't think he's ever doubted Tom Pearce's ability. You know, he's trusted him in the cup games, and Tom Pearce has put in 2 decent performances in the cup games. He hasn't had many opportunities in the league this season, only really being substitute appearances. But last season alone, you saw the potential in Tom Pearce. Barry Douglas isn't getting any younger either. At 29 last September, he'll be 30 in September 2019, I believe. So that shows maybe Tom Pearce is going to get his opportunity sooner than maybe we think. He does have the potential. He's got crossing ability. He can shoot from distance. He is more than happy to go past the halfway line, and defensively he is solid. I cannot think of Tom Pearce making a mistake leading to a goal at all so far in his games. There is another contender as well in Leeds Davis as well. A Welsh left back as well. I think he's 18, 19. Was on the bench against West Brom. Has sort of risen to prominence with a couple of really promising games for the academy. He's another contender for that left back spot. But Barry Douglas, as good as he is, for me, is probably comfortably one of the best players in the team, if not the best player in the squad at the moment. Isn't getting any younger, and as he gets older, maybe in terms of his attacking influence will sort of fade a little bit. You know, we see that with any sort of fullback. You know, you go back to absolutely anyone. You go back to people like Ashley Cole, Leighton Baines, all when they were sort of around the 20s, mid-20s, and fitness-wise at their absolute peak, were able to get up and down, getting crossed into the box. But as you get older, that sort of thing, part of this game for a fullback does disappear, and perhaps when that happens, people like Tom Pearce and Leeds Davis will get their opportunities. So for me, they are 2 other big contenders to be the next big stars in this team. Conor Shaughnessy is going to be the next option, centre-back / centre defensive midfielder. He's had 1 opportunity this season in the cup game against Preston. I did earlier on in the season not demand, but I did say Conor Shaughnessy deserves opportunity, because for me, Conor Shaughnessy massively suits his system. In terms of ability on the ball, we saw it last season under Thomas Christiansen, when for me, I thought last season he was our best centre-back by an absolute distance. In terms of pound for pound, our best centre-back. In terms of when he played, he did nothing wrong, and he actually showed a little bit of solidity, something we massively lacked at the back last season. I think maybe he will get more opportunities this season. Marcelo Bielsa has spoken very sort of brightly about Conor Shaughnessy. You have to remember Conor Shaughnessy got a really, really bad injury against Hull earlier on this year against, I think it was end of January it was, and he's only really had one game to properly recover from that. He didn't get any pre-season, and for me, I think people were written off Conor Shaughnessy a bit too early. For me, he is a big contender of being a big part of this Marcelo Bielsa team. He's getting a lot of games to do in the 23s, he's playing as a holding midfielder, and with the club only really having Calvin Phillips as an out-and-out holding midfielder, maybe it is only Conor Shaughnessy who's the other option there. Maybe that might progress. For me, he's another contender. But the two main ones I've already touched on are Jamie Shackleton and Jack Clarke for me. Jamie Shackleton, what a talent this guy is. What a talent he is. He's played right back and excelled despite not being a right back. He's looked more than comfortable there. And with Stuart Dallas's recently poor performances at right back, Luke Hayden being out, you cannot discount Jamie Shackleton making a big name for himself at right back. He's already had a star performance against Swansea, a game where we really struggled in, but Jamie Shackleton and Pablo Hernandez on that right hand side linked up really well. You know, Jamie Shackleton making one goal, Pablo Hernandez scoring another. He has shown that ability to play in that spot. He's also looked quite promising in his mains position as a centre midfielder. He, for me, is a big talent, and he probably would be the person I'd say is going to be the one who makes a name himself in this system. Jack Clarke is the next one. Jack Clarke, wow. I mean, Blackburn, Forest, he came on, completely changed the momentum of both games. Positive, running at his full-back, and two really positive impact performances from the player. For me, he is a big part of this team. You know, I think as the season progresses, he gets more and more used to the system, more and more used to off-the-ball work, you know, knowing how to conserve energy. It's something I touched on in the last All Leeds TV Investigates on their channel, LUFC. But for me, Jack Clarke, as he gets more used to the system, when to press, when not to press, when to cover his left back, when to cover his right back if he's playing on the other side, is going to be a very promising player. He's someone that Jack, who is going to start doing videos on this channel, has spoken about Jack Clarke all season so far. He said how promising the player he is, saying how much he's heard about the player, and for me, he really has proven himself so far this season. You know, when he's come on, he's put in two really promising performances, and he looks really positive from that left-hand side. He looks like a Marcelo Bielsa type of player. The only thing that slightly limits Jack Clarke is playing on the left-hand side. Bielsa does not like inverted wingers, and Jack Clarke is naturally wanting to cut in onto his right foot. If he is to adapt to the system, maybe he is going to have to play more on the right-hand side when Pablo Hernandez needs a rest, or if we need to change things up a little bit. But for me, Jack Clarke or Jamie Shackleton are going to be the next people who progress from this team. It's been a bit of a different All Leeds TV Investigates this, but for me, those are the 5 players I see as being the next potential big parts of this team, the next academy graduates, if you like. If you've enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and check out Joe Wainman's Monday Night Football, Conor at the Ramblings to the South Stands, Friday Night Football, which is, as it says, will be later on in the week, and our match previews for Bristol City as well. I've been Oscar Marriott, and we'll see you later.